Hi again. Thank you for choosing In My Shoes. I'm Hilda Kathy Broady, your host. And we're going to do part 2 with Jateik Reed, Schuan Reed, and June Alicia. But I still have to thank the folks who've been supporting In My Shoes all over the world. Wow, all over the world. It's kind of refreshing to think that people are actually hearing, getting the information, and utilizing it. We're broadcast all over the world at www.bronxnet.org. And without further ado, we want to get back into what we were discussing on our last segment. So, you were talking about when you were brought into the precinct, and
when they brought me back into the the first time they brought me to the precinct after they beat me, they actually stabbed me with the nightsticks in the car, in the van, the whole way there. They maced me, and then they took me to a different room, straight ahead, away from the cells. As soon as I walked through the room, they maced me again, and then they started beating me again. And then one of them was holding me by the cuffs while I was dangling to falling to the floor, and he told me if I bleed on his floor, that he gonna mop it up with my face. So then they was asking me, do I want to go to the hospital, trying to tell me not to go, that it's just gonna make the time go longer, the process gonna be longer when I go to the central bookings. I'm like, nah, I want to go to the hospital. They like, nah, you hit a cop. I'm like, no, I didn't. I want to go to the hospital. They like, we didn't hit you, right? You a man. I'm like, nah, y'all hit me. I want to go to the hospital. Then they send me to the hospital. And then I come back from the hospital and I get back to the precinct and I see my little brother and one of my friends. So now I'm looking like, what they locked up for? My little brother is telling me something. He pointed to the next cell. I look and it's my mom. Then I found out that they arrested them for some nonsense.
So your mother?
I saw my mom. Now I'm wondering, like, what are they in here for? Then they start telling me, like, the cops is trying like use excessive force on them too, not as much as me, but use excessive force on them too and arrested them because they thought that they had the video. So now I'm sitting there, and then they took my mom and them in the morning to central bookings before me and left me there. Some detectives came to see me, but they was talking about that I had robbed somebody uptown White Plains on 223rd a week before that. I'm like, now y'all lying, because I was in Brooklyn bookings because I had hopped the train because I didn't have any reds on me to get on the train real quick, so I had hopped the train. So they was lying. And eventually I beat that case too. They had to throw it out because there wasn't no witnesses or nothing.
I remember I was in court that day.
And actually it was witnesses, but the witness wasn't saying that you robbed her.
Because it wasn't really no witness. It was a fake witness that they created in their own mind.
Are you kidding?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever that's supposed to have got their cell phone stolen, they wasn't saying it was him. But the prosecutor tried to make, I guess, us think, oh, we have somebody that's going to say this is what he did. But the person never came forth and said he did anything.
They never put me in a lineup or nothing. Because when they came to get me for the lineup, they said my face was too disformed, so it didn't make no sense for me to go in the lineup because they wouldn't be able to tell who I was.
And they actually used that as a reason for them stopping him that day to say that he was wanted for a robbery that happened over 100 blocks away. Oh. But it was never no warrant or anything for him. So how do you put those two together to say that you're looking for him for something that is no warrant or anything for him for?
So they trumped up charges.
Right. And thank God that got thrown out too.
They didn't even have my charges, the assault on the cop and all that wasn't even there. Because when I got to the hospital, they told me my charges was resisting arrest and possession of narcotics. That was all that I was, resisting arrest and possession of narcotics. That's what they told me. When I got back to the precinct, they was writing all the stuff down in the book and all that. That's when they put I guess they must have found out that it was a video. That's when they put that it was assault on the cop, this and that, and added extra charges.
But what does that tell you? It tells you right there that it doesn't just start from the top to the middle to the bottom. It starts from the bottom, middle, and even our judges.
Yeah.
Even the judges, because I'm sure we've all had that type of some type of problem, or just attending for support for somebody, and it shows exactly how the judges could be against and all for the other people, and you wonder, how can that be? So if it starts from the top, we've got serious problems. We're talking about fighting the police department's blue code or whatever, but in the long run, we still have to deal with the Supreme. You know, so if the top is corrupted, then of course we're gonna have problems.
And it takes a lot to report and get a judge into some type of trouble. Once you throw it out there that the judge did something inappropriate, that they can hold that against you, mess with your case, talk to the other judges, now everybody against you. It's
Corruption
crazy.
is terrible.
Yeah. And you're right, it goes from the bottom, it goes all the way up.
To the top.
And then people have preconceived notions that you're already guilty. Before, I thought it was innocent until proven guilty, but it seems like it's guilty until proven innocent.
Or until you just give up.
Yeah, and a lot of people do. That's why a lot of people take these plea deals and cop out the time for something that they didn't even do. But mind you, if you're arrested for a crime and you're going to court and you take a plea deal, maybe to 6 months for probation, if you get arrested again, say this time you did do something or maybe you didn't, that is held against you because you already have something on your record where if you go to court, the time they're going to give you now is more because you already been convicted of a crime. So your time is more than it would have been if you didn't have that on your record.
Exactly. Because you hear on Judge Judy even, she says, oh, you were guilty. And they say, no, I took a plea because my lawyer told me to. And she said, then you're guilty. And people are not hearing when I'm guilty. I'm saying I'm guilty. I'm guilty of a lesser crime. If I didn't do anything, then I'm not guilty of anything.
Yeah, but it's like, do I take that chance that if I go to trial and they say I'm guilty and they giving me all these years, rather I could have took 6 months or 1 to 3 years, but now I got to go to jail for 25 years.
You take the plea.
You
take the plea. That's what they're telling.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to. And that's bad that you got to make a decision like that. Because who's to say whether I did the crime or not? Like, it's got to be proven. Like I said, if you don't have a lawyer that you got to spend money on to prove that you are innocent, then what are you gonna do?
And I know somebody now who didn't do it. This is years and years and years and years ago. When he grew up, he wanted to be a cop. Oh, how could I say that? Oh, and he somebody snatched somebody's pocketbook, and they picked him up, and he didn't do it. But he took the plea. Now you got a plea, so you have a conviction, so you can't be a police person.
No.
So he was misdirected from the beginning for something that he didn't do because he took the plea. So I tell everybody, if you did it, then you need to get a lawyer, you get somebody. But if you didn't do it, then you didn't do it. And I don't care what you didn't do it. We will fight to get you out. Because people never... Like, you were innocent, and you're innocent. How much of your time in your life are you spending in the Bronx criminal court building? How many times? I know I went like 8 or 9 times. Oh, my God,
me? I was going like every week, like 2 or 3 times out of the month.
Because there was 2 different things. There was the thing where they said they put the robbery on from when the cops beat them up. So those are 2 different cases.
Oh, and then I had cases that I had got from going to court, and I would have never been going to court because the cases that I was originally going to court for got dropped eventually. I caught other cases while going back and forth to 161 because it's nothing but a bunch of people that got caught out there, so it's mad people that try to, I don't got time for that. I'm trying to go to court, and then now the COs come down and they just gonna take whoever is out there. Now everybody's locked up for nothing. And then all them cases was for nothing, 'cause I wouldn't never caught them if they never lied and made me go to court for something I didn't do.
It's like a snowball that just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it could actually take over your whole life if you let it. But we're not gonna let that happen. But it's you feel like you're climbing a mountain that doesn't have a peak. I think, yeah, it's
Is there any ending, you would say,
yes.
to the to the nonsense? I want to share this. It's called "It's Your Baby." A lot of females around this time, they tend to they're young, they have a child by accident, and they really don't know what to do. And it's sad. It's your baby. Why is life worth living when you kill a baby? It's your baby, a candle of life. One may think it will go away. Where? In a garbage can, in a toilet bowl, or on the floor? It's not going to going to disappear. Why? It's your baby, a part of you and your body. Why? Take a little soul's life. Why? A little angel made from heaven, looking down. So sad. It just shows that the fact remains is that they could do whatever they do, but that spirit is still there, and it will never go away. So I really think sometimes the young adults that make mistakes, they truly need to think about that when they're in their 40s or 35 or whatever, it's still there. It's still there. And some men, too, they have to take the responsibility. It's not just on the female's behalf, because she'll have that mark on her for the rest of her life.
You're right.
Exactly. So much.
Yes,
And
yes.
It's
It's
I just know that it's going to get better. I believe in my heart and my soul that it's going to get better, and we can count on better things happening, because now we have an army. I should say, click my heels, and when I wake up, everything is going to be better. That's definitely living in fantasy land. And we tend to look toward others to bail us out, to get us out of and I want to talk more about what we can do ourselves individually and collectively, because we even though we seem to be a disjointed community, as I was talking about the internet before, I think Facebook has made a lot of people connect up better. Although sometimes on Facebook I get a little stupid, because I really don't want to see pictures of your chicken that you're getting ready to eat. And I don't care.
Yeah.
I think we could better utilize it.
That's how my video got out. It was originally put on Facebook, and then I don't know how it got to YouTube and World Star and all that. And then the news found it.
See, so that's helpful, but how can we better? I don't know. I don't know. I have a YouTube channel also. Actually, I got two. I didn't know. I messed up and somehow I have two now. That's a good thing. That's a good thing that it's two. It's two. It's just sometimes I don't even know how to get to either one. But I'm learning. It's a learning process. And we're all learning how to cope. We have better coping skills now. I don't run away from stuff anymore. And I'm learning not to take things so much to heart, that I'm not all that special, that it's just me, that it's happening kind of universally now. I used to think that everybody was just picking on me, and that's not necessarily the case. And I've had some not so good experiences with police, and then I've had some really good experiences with them too. So when you say that they're all not bad, I agree, because there were times when I was stranded on Gun Hill Road and I couldn't get home, and they just took me home and said, look, next time come outside with cab fare. We gonna help you out now, because we see that you're struggling out here. So and that was a good thing, because you never expect the police to do that, because usually when they put you in the back of the car,
Take it.
They're not taking you home. And it wasn't. And I didn't think that they were cab service. I was just standing on the corner crying because I couldn't make it. And they were helpful, but you know, then they keep ticketing my vehicles now though. So I'm legally parked and they're still ticketing me. So then it's like, okay, you need to stop that too. We're finding activities that we're trying to join together with actually the precinct in my neighborhood. We're trying to join together with them so that the people on our block, because our block is kind of rough, are not frantic every time they see a police person coming, and they kind of know us now, so they're not so apt to raise the billy club, or do they even use the billy club, or just shoot, but they're actually stopping and conversing now, where before I know that they didn't do that. They were just doing sweeps through the block and just sweeping up everybody, and you know, if you happen to be out there, you got swept with everybody, and that's really not helpful to anybody. Because I never found out if somebody falsely arrests you, is there a penalty to the person who arrests you?
Oh no.
No, you can put out a complaint with the Civil Complaint Review Board. 9 times out of 10, nothing happens behind that. But or you can people put in for lawsuits against stuff like that. But 9 times out of 10, nothing really happens behind that. It's no real consequences that they get behind falsely arresting people. And they do that more so, I think, than arresting people for something that they actually did do.
Because they be trying to meet their quotas.
Yeah, that's another thing. They have a quota where they have to meet a certain amount of arrest or tickets. You know, I think it's certain amount of each thing in a certain amount of time. And when they don't, they get what they call like the garbage positions. The positions that nobody wants.
Like traffic. Like they don't want to do the traffic enough, and they sit them down to make them do traffic or put them behind the desk because they ain't meet their quota.
I had did a seminar at NYU, and I spoke there about police brutality. And they had the cops where they black your face out, where you only could see your silhouette, where they even admitted to the sergeants telling them, look, this is what you do, and they stand there and they watch them do it, stopping people for no reason and arresting people for no reason. You gotta do what you gotta do because this is part of your job. And it goes to the
they didn't justify how it was part of their job to that's abuse and harassment, and I don't think there's any description for that to occur except in the blue something that you said?
In the code blue, no. They were basically saying that this is how it's done to get the statistics and in the numbers, to say this is how many arrests a year. We're arresting people. So if you're arresting so many people, we're doing our job. You know what I'm saying? But in all reality, you're arresting people for things they didn't do half the time. When was it? I believe it was last year. They did over about 100,000 stop and frisk. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 2% were felony arrests out of 100,000. 2%.
That's scary.
And once you get below 86th Street, how many stop and frisks were conducted below 86th Street?
Probably none until you get to the village.
Yeah, you see black and brown is all over. They getting arrested for this, they getting arrested for that. That's because, I'm not being funny, but in the different neighborhoods and things, they're not stopping the white kids saying, let me check you. So you don't know if they got weed on them or not. You don't know if they got coke on them or not. You don't know if they got a concealed weapon on them or not, because you're not checking them to see.
I know. I remember Kelly, when Kelly was commissioner, was saying, but most of the crimes are committed by the people that are being stopped.
Who said it?
Like he said it.
No, but you understand what I'm saying?
I understand. I mean, even with and my problem with the police is not being beat up or anything. It's just I got 53 tickets for parking legally, But I can park in the same tight T intersection on Bronxdale Avenue and have never gotten a ticket. Never. And I'm parking the same kind of spot on my block, and I've gotten 53 tickets. Bronxdale Avenue on between Morris and Van Ness. You know what's over there, right?
About Soundview.
Not even that far down Soundview.
No, it's like in the area.
Yeah,
around
but
it.
it's not an all minority neighborhood.
Right.
And therefore I had to, even when I had the hearing, I mean, you say, oh, you can file a complaint. I did file a complaint, and I had a hearing July 2nd, and I'm still waiting for a decision.
Yeah, see?
And you're saying that they have a quota, so they have a quota on how many arrests they make, and I know they have a quota on how many tickets they write. And when I said, I talked to them, the police, and said, don't ticket my car because I'm parked legally, and here's the paper, I got it off the DOT's website, and look at this and stop that. And one traffic enforcement agent said, you're parked here, and I see your car here, and I'm going to ticket it every time. And I did whip out my camera. And said, I got your badge number, and I got your badge number. That's his boss.
Can I ask you, did he give a reason as to why?
Yeah, I know why they're parking. Because it's a T intersection. So there's curb cuts.
Okay.
Okay, but on the T intersection, as of December 2008, if you're parked in a T intersection and you're in the curb cut, it's not considered illegal. It's not a $165 fine.
Right.
But they choose to say, well, we're going to ignore that, and we're going to keep ticketing your car. I mean, I've had judges say, well, just don't park there anymore. And I'm saying, so you're telling me to walk 2 blocks.
Right.
Because they keep ticketing I said, no, I'll just keep visiting y'all.
Yeah, so I should be able to park where I want to park as
If
long
it's
as it's
legal.
not illegal.
Right. And my solution was that anybody who wrongfully ticketed my vehicle should get to pay that $165 fine. This way the city won't lose any money, but they'll stop doing it. You know, maybe we should try to institute it. If a cop arrests you wrongly and you don't take the plea, then maybe they need to do the time that they're arresting you for, and maybe they'll stop.
Yeah, and that was another thing that was brought up in the incident with Jateik. One of the cops said he doesn't care because the city has to pay for it, not him. So it's not coming out their pockets when somebody's has a civil suit against the city. The city has to pay that, and where that's coming out of the taxpayers' money.
Yeah, he specifically told me, he said, that's coming out of your money.
The taxpayers'
I'm like,
money. The taxpayers are paying the police officers' salary, but yet,
We're paying for your stupidity as well.
right, you know.
So it's
and-
like double dipping.
Yeah, I don't understand that. And my thing is, like, some of them are real jerks, and I think they just want to exhibit their authority in some sort of way. Just say, I said, just do what I said when I said because I said it. And they don't want you to question them. They don't want you to speak up against them and let them know, officer, it wasn't that, it was this, shut up, shut the F. You know, they talk to people, I see them talk to people crazy. You should see how they treat these kids. Talking to them all kind of way. You don't talk to people like that and then expect them to respond back to you in a respectful way. I mean, like, police officer, no police officer, it doesn't really work like that, you know?
I got a video on my phone, like, they was just telling us, like, you can't be in the area at all. Not even, like, I can't stand on the corner. Like, I can't be over here at all. Leave, go home, get on the bus or something, or we gonna lock you out. We went to the store. They came in the store and got one of my friends and took him and said he was blocking pedestrian passage. Now, if the store owner didn't call you and report nothing, there's nothing wrong. We right, we in the store. There's nothing you could tell us. You don't know what we coming to buy or nothing. He took him and said he was blocking pedestrian passage for no reason, just because.
So it's almost like a vendetta against
And they run around intimidating people. And a lot of these people are scared. They don't want to say nothing because they feel like ain't nothing going to happen anyway. So why should I even tell what they did or what they said to me, because there's not going to be any consequences behind it.
And that's what, see, I think that's why I'm having the problem with the protests, because I don't see carrying signs and marching. Okay, I see you, but what change is going to come about because of that?
I don't I guess it's more so of just showing everybody that, oh, we as the people are tired of this and
Okay,
something
but
got to
what's
give.
next?
But you're right.
What's next?
It has to be something else behind that.
Yeah,
You're right.
There's got to be, and I'm not saying that we should be violent, and I'm saying there's got to be a consequence. We have to make it so that, and if there's no laws in place or no rules in place that say if you do this, this is going to happen, then we need to vote,
Right.
and then let the people that we vote in know that if you don't, then you'll be unemployed because we'll find somebody else who's hearing what
replace
we're
you.
saying. And we tend to not do that. So we're always going to be the whipping boy. We're always going to be the whipping boy until we step up and say, there are consequences for your actions. Just like if I break the law, I know that I have to be, what do they say? You have to do the crime and
Do the crime, do
do
the time.
the time, then it should be universal. That
Right,
that's
you're right.
and
Of
it's not it's one sided now. It's
It
only
is.
only if I do the crime that I'm going to do the time.
And they keep thinking they're above the law, and they fail to realize they're not above the law. They're just here to enforce it.
Yeah, but
Nothing more. You're not above the law. You're here to enforce it and make sure that we're good.
from the looks of it, they are above the law.
Yes,
From the looks of it, that's how I view it.
it appears that it's now so ingrained in the fabric of our society that they seem to be always right, even when they're wrong. And because we haven't done anything about it except be at the pity party.
And-
There hasn't been any consequences at all.
You're
And I
right.
think we need to hit them where it hurts, and that's in their pockets. Because you're not going to make the same mistake again if now I'm suing you personally. Because I had said, the last 8 tickets I got was after my hearing. That was after I had the hearing. So now I have their names. I actually read the last 4 tickets names of the officers that gave me the tickets on air, because I'm going after them personally because you knew.
Right.
So now I'm going, and I don't want your money. Pay the city that $165 that the city didn't get, because you're spending my money when you did that. Because when you spent time writing that ticket for me, you could have been doing something that was making more sense.
Well, ticketing somebody
That's
deserves
illegally
the ticket.
parked. That's what I mean. Do your job, and I'm not saying don't do your job, but do your job correctly and do your job well. Everybody I know that works is not malingering or not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And I've been told I live in fantasy land because my expectation that everybody's supposed to do that. Well, yeah, if you're collecting a check, then do what you're supposed to be doing to get the money
You're right.
in real life. And if you don't, then I'm taking some of your money back, one way or the other.
Right.
And I'm not talking about just with taxes, because everybody pays taxes. But there should be, and that's what we haven't. And I've been thinking about this for a while now, and I still haven't figured out what to do. I mean, it got so bad that I couldn't remember the name of the cop that shot my cousin. And I kept saying his name started with a C. His name started with a C. What's the rest of it? We got the rest of the name, because my relative didn't forget. I just said I remember first letters.
Right.
And I said, and what has happened to him? Nothing. I wanted to bring the article in the New York Times that because they didn't even recognize that an officer had shot him. The article said a bullet from a transit policeman's gun hit a man in his head.
And
That's what it said.
Can I just say, we put a lot into the media also, and the media don't always report the story correctly either. They have a habit of throwing out there, for example, the police killed young black unarmed man. They're quick to say, he had a record. What does him having a record have to do with what happened right then and there? Those two don't coincide.
They dredge up whatever mud, soot, whatever they can throw on a person, even before they have all the facts.
You saw with Mike Brown, what happened with Mike Brown? They said that he robbed the store.
Mm-hmm.
The store owner said he's
Not him.
no, that's not him.
That's not the
So
one.
the whole they putting out on the news and everything talking about he just robbed the store, and then that's why they was it wasn't even him.
And it
So what are
wasn't
you
looking
talking
for
about?
him. And that whole when I heard the police, the guy that shot him, when you heard his crap that he read, his lawyer's statement that he read, it didn't make any sense. It didn't jive. It didn't, and I'm not quite understanding how they didn't indict him for something. But
I felt some kind of way because I felt like his statement was kind of like a slap in the face. It wasn't remorseful at
he didn't give a
all.
damn.
Yeah, he didn't, and it was kind of like, ha ha.
I
you
got
know?
this.
Yeah,
You
you know.
know.
And I don't know, do you remember he said that he told them when he was driving in the police car, oh, hey, fellas, why don't you get on the sidewalk? Was it necessary for you to say anything to them? We don't know what he said to him. Hey, get the H out the street. You know, it's a way that they speak to people. You know, that might have sparked the whole thing from him saying something to him that wasn't even necessary for him to say in the first place.
And Mike Brown's friend missing now. The one that was there,
The
that
one
saw
that was with him
everything,
is missing.
Yeah, and
magically
also,
missing now.
Did you see? I'm wishing I could remember the boy's name. One of the witnesses turned up dead.
Yeah,
And they
one of the
don't
witnesses
know
turned up dead.
Who killed the boy?
They just found them somewhere
Yeah,
dead.
and have no idea who killed the boy. Not
And
to
they're not
say
looking.
this is what I'm saying, but who is investigating the story?
The ones that did it.
No, you can't say that because you don't know who killed them. What I'm saying is, God forbid, if they did have a hand in it, the Missouri Police Department, they're investigating themselves. I'm just saying, we all know now that it's a really racist state, you know? And I'm just throwing that out there, but people tend to think we have a black president, oh, we've come so far as a people. Yeah, we have, but that racism is still out there very much.
It's ingrained into this society.
Yeah, and people don't know how bad it really still is because it's hidden up to a certain point with some people, depending on where you are.
Yeah, because we know it never slacked up for us.
Yeah,
and what we were talking about, the young folks, you were saying they're taking them at 14 and 15, and they're giving them 15 years and 20 years and putting them in with the adults. They're treating them like adults when, remember when you were 13 and you were 14, some of the things we did were not criminal, they were mischievous.
Right. All kids, children, they don't have a real, they don't really
Grasp.
know what's the consequences to their action. They don't have a real concept of that. I think even at 16, took me a long time to really grasp consequences to my actions as I was growing up. When I was 16, I would walk down a dark block with nobody outside. I sure wouldn't do it now at all. And people do another thing. They have a thing with saying black on black crime. I'm not being funny, but I view it as all races commit criminal acts against each other. So it's not just about black on black crime. We know black people kill each other, white people kill each other.
Exactly.
Spanish people kill each other. So, you know, we have to first stop killing each other first before we talk about other people do it. Just because whoever does it to each other, that don't mean it's all right for somebody else to do it.
We have to stop killing, period.
Yeah, exactly.
It don't matter who's getting killed
Thank
and who's
you.
doing the killing. Why are we not stopping the killing?
Yeah, like how do you justify that though? To say, oh, if they stop killing, and these kids, the same thing that's happening now was happening in the 80s, but it's just much, much more of it.
I don't even think that it's much more of it. I think that
It's just more
there's
publicity now. There's more cameras and
There's
stuff.
more ways to get it out there. Because some of it was like swept under the rug, and you didn't find out about it until years later. But now it's like instantaneously. So you can count. I mean, when we were doing the civil rights back in the 60s, a lot of people got hurt that was never, ever, ever reported. Even in the 70s, people talk about Medgar Evers. Well, his brother Charles ran for governor in Mississippi. I went down to poll watch. Okay, we went down with a group of young pre-law students. We were freshmen in college, and we were gonna make a difference, and we were gonna, and half of us didn't make it back here. That never made the news.
And I'm not surprised.
That never made the news. They took people out into the rural areas, and we waited at the airport for. We missed flights, waiting, and nobody ever came back. Let me tell you funny. I went down and this was in 1971, and I had my afro, I had a big fro, and I had my dashikis and my sneakers. And I got on the plane, and they said you need a dress, you need to straighten out that hair, and I didn't have the clothes, and I said this is just how I have to be because this is all I have. And it was just that kind of atmosphere, and I didn't realize that I'm going south of the border, south of the Mason-Dixon line, because I had never been to Mississippi, and we went to Claiborne County, Mississippi, where we met somebody. We didn't even have sense enough. This is from people from New York going to Mississippi, and hadn't really been south of Pennsylvania really. And when we were in headquarters, we went across the street, me and my friends, and we didn't know that you don't go in the front door. We not only went in the front door, we sashayed up to the counter and ordered. And somebody named Wild Bill somebody met and said, y'all not from around here. And I said, well, how did he know? He said, he said, y'all from up north. And we said, yeah, we're from New York. And he said, down here, our friends go round back. And I said, I just want a cheeseburger. Yeah, round back. And we didn't leave. We didn't have sense enough to leave. And that was 1971. So that was after we had the right to vote. And we were just going down to make sure that people did vote. Well, dead people voted too. We were poll watching it, and we had sheets of who was supposed to be there and who wasn't supposed to be there.
Right.
And dead people were voting.
Wow.
People who were supposedly dead were coming in and voting. And I'm not seeing that. That's in 1971, and here we are over 40 years later. Yeah, over 40 years later, and we ain't no better. We ain't no better. And so how long, they said, we've made so many accomplishments, and where?
Yeah, I think up to a certain point.
Where?
But it's a lot further we need to go. People think just because, we have a black president, we can't go no further than that. No, it is further we can go.
They don't even realize, more time the president when he want to make stuff happen, he got to go through certain people in order to make it happen anyway. So they thinking Obama could just make a change when in reality, he got to go through people and give his voice, and then they could decide if that's what they want to do.
Which is why the midterm elections were so important, because we were supposed to make sure he had the backup in the Senate and in the House. It was midterm elections. They changed it, and they let the other party who's been fighting him, anything he said, if he said blue, they said it was green. If he said up, they said no down. So you let those people back into power so that they can continue to block and make this country stagnant. And that's on us. That's on us. We didn't. I went to vote. I went to vote, and I took people with me. Let's go vote. We can do this. It's all.
I voted one time, and that's because I was just when I went to go get my GED. Matter of fact, they signed me up for everything right there and let me vote right there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Gotta vote. The numbers are dismal, and just have to drive. If you're driving, you can notice who's voting and who's not voting just by the condition of the street. Because where people vote, they pave the streets.
That's right.
It's not happening in our hood, in our neighborhood. It's not a hood. On our streets, it's messed up. I mean, even Con Ed came and plowed up and dug up my block, and they only smoothed it out to a certain point. And I went over to Bronxdale Avenue, and I'm going to keep using that example. where they did the same digging up and it's smooth. It's smooth. I said, now when they gonna come back and fix this? They ain't been back yet. And they're not gonna come back. And nobody's gonna say anything because my calling 311 and saying, can you send DOT, whoever comes over here to look at this?
And I think they just do that so, cause they know we driving and stuff. We gonna mess up the car on them roads. Then we gotta go and spend more money, put it in their pocket, spend more money.
Everything is about revenue.
Everything. That's why I said, if we stop spending our money, people gonna hear us. They're gonna hear us because they want the money. In this country, the almighty dollar, they say the almighty dollar, and they mean that. That's what runs this country. And we are not, as a people, a priority unless we're spending that money. You know, I had a kid, he spent days waiting for some sneakers that cost hundreds of dollars. And I said, who's paying your tuition? Because he goes to school, who's paying your tuition? And you know, my mom. Does your mother know you out here doing this with her money? You know, where are your priorities? And we don't think that way. We don't think our kids are not. I mean, we were really, really poor, so we always wanted our kids to have more than us. But we need to actually ingrain in them the work ethic as well. It's like I got $1 a week. That was my allowance. And yes, I know it was in the olden days, but even back then it didn't get a lot. It didn't get a whole lot. But we had to work for that dollar. We had to really work for that dollar. And what are you willing to do for you? What do you, I mean, really, and we never ask our kids that. True. What are you willing to do for you? It's like, I wanted art lessons. I had no money. So I found an artist and I modeled for her. So you teach me art and I'll model for you. I wanted clothes from Lane and Bryant because I've always been chubby and cute. I wanted clothes from Lane and Bryant and I ain't had no money and it was Easter time, so I modeled for them. So yes, I'm a fashion, yes, right, I modeled and they gave me clothes. You know, so what are you willing to do for you?
Right.
You know, it's like when I went to college, I worked 3 jobs. Okay, I got scholarships, but I needed food and stuff like that. And are you willing to work? And people are sitting back and waiting for it to come.
Right.
You gotta go get it. You gotta go get it. And they will even tell you how. That's a good thing about the system. It's not all that bad. The system actually puts out the roadmap, and we tend to not look at it.
Because that's what they do. They put it right in your face, overlooking. It's like when you, like if you lose something, like you don't know where you put your phone, you can have it right in your hand, but you thinking like, dang, where did I lose it? Where did I lose it? You looking all around, it's right there in your face. You're not even paying attention till you look like, oh, I got it. Come on, we out.
Because a lot of people are saying that our president hasn't done anything for us, and I'm saying he ain't gonna do it for you. He made it possible for you to. There are avenues that were opened up. But you have to, you know, walk the path as well.
Yeah, and I think more people should give him his props because he's making an effort. And he can't do as messed up as it's been, especially from when Bush was in office. It takes more than 8 years to fix all of that, the economy and everything else.
And my only beef was you bailed out the car people and the banks got bailed out. But individuals were not bailed out. They said, just hang with it. I know, because I was one of those individuals. I tried to start a petition and say, well, what about my what about my money? What happened to my money? My money just went in the toilet and I didn't do anything. You know, and it was like, oh, well, it'll get better.
And I don't think the city treats its workers well. Especially if you have like an accident on a job and stuff. It's just like they just kind of kick them to the curb.
Workers' comp?
Yeah, yes. Workers' comp, SSD, SSI.
Well, SSI is welfare, so that's SSD is disability insurance, but SSI is welfare, and that's federal and that. But the workers' comp, I thought workers' comp was a joke. I worked
Yeah,
for the
it's
state,
terrible.
and it was that they sent me one check, and I cried, and said,
Like, really?
What am I do with this? Why did you send this? No, that's okay. I feel better now, and I don't care how hurt I am. Put me back on payroll because I need to pay my rent, and workers' comp doesn't cover that. But that's a system that they have in place, and it's not going to change until we make it change. That's the problem with being an employee of the system. I was so involved in a union that everybody hated me. I was labor management chair because I felt that I needed to be in control of every aspect of my life. So if you could push a button that could do something to me, I'd be right here in your face.
Right.
Like that. So health and safety, I was right there because we worked in a sick building. Everybody's sick. You're not doing anything about it. You're going to do something about it now because I'm going to come and cough on you. Or labor management. Treat your staff well, and your staff will really we busted it out. It was funny because the Bronx Vested office, when we first, about 2 years after it was opened on Pelham Parkway, we were such a cohesive unit that when the manager, usually when the cat's away, the mice do play, there was always 100% attendance. Everybody was busting it out. We was doing our jobs and doing it better than if she was there. Because we didn't want to make her look poorly, and we wanted to do what we needed to do for our clients. And when they started messing with us and fixing what wasn't broke, is when we became hostile. So that you have to decide where you want to work. Once you finish school, when you decide what you're going to be your major, you want to finish school and you want to decide where you want to go, you need to do a budget now so you know how much you need to make.
I already know. I want to make cartoons. I want to go for graphic design.
So you're going to be rich?
Cause I love cartoons. Even now I watch cartoons all day. I would rather watch cartoons than regular TV.
Okay.
And I draw and stuff. So I got an imagination. So that would be the perfect job for me, and I have fun. I can make a career out of that.
So LIU office graphics?
Yes, I went with Joe. Went down there with Joe.
Okay. Because I'll try to find out if they still have the summer program. They used to have a summer program where you went for the summer and you kind of got the feel of the place and make sure that's where you wanted to be. And we didn't have that chance. We got to go one day, but they get to go for the whole. They get to go for the whole summer. So I'll find out if they still offer that. And that's something that you may want to reconnect with Joe and see, because we have friends all over the place, and they're saying, just send us. Not you're tired and you're poor, but just send us the people who have a little bit of get up and go, and it hasn't get up and went. And that's something that you can do. And you're going to do cartoons. Maybe you can work on a logo for this show. Because I don't have one yet. Because I'm not artsy craftsy. I wish that I was, but I'm not. Yes, I learned colors when I took the artist teaching me. I learned colors. I can't even draw a straight line with a ruler. So that's not my forte. Which is fine. I know what my limitations are, and I accept that.
Well, it's been great sitting here talking to you, Ms. Broady. Got a lot off my chest.
That's a good thing, because we have a conversation, and that's what In My Shoes is. It's just to let people have a forum to just, what's happening, what has happened, what do you hope to happen, what can we make, how can we make it better? Because we do try to come up with viable solutions. So most of the time, I end up going home and saying, I should have said this, or I could have, why did I think of that? But that's all right, because there's always next week. Right? It's a weekly show. So if I forget something, I'll bring it in next time.
I know that's right.
It's all good. And it's an opportunity. This is an opportunity that I think we've been looking for a minute. And because it is going all over the world, which I didn't realize that it did. I really didn't. When somebody said www.bronxnet.org, for some reason my mind didn't think out of our country, until I got the email from the UK, and then it was like, ooh,
that's great.
Ooh, I better not curse. Don't know who watching it.
Because nowadays on TV they say any and everything.
But I try to keep it so that it's not.
Yeah.
It's we want to keep it
clean.
What is it? General PG. is that parental something? Or?
Parental
Got
guidance.
it.
Okay, so no, I want it to be G, so that they don't even need parents. It's just gonna be informative. But we can provide people with information, and they can utilize that. Then we make somebody less stressed.
That's why I really wanted to come here, cause like y'all older, so like the younger kids around my age range, like they probably like it's harder for them to get it, hearing it from y'all. It would be better for them to hear about somebody that's going like around their age range that's going through it, that can actually tell them how the experience.
That's why.
And they'll feel it more.
That's why on our way over, I was talking about we're thinking about doing an In My Shoes 2 TOO. Maybe perhaps you can be a host on that with the guy from StrugCon, Joe, and I, and bring it from a young person's point of view, because I'm the oldest, of course, you know, and then Joe is like maybe 20 years younger than me, and then you like 25 years 20 younger than him. So we could hit it from all the generations and put that information out there and let people benefit from the things that we haven't been able to get out there for a long time. That's what we're trying to do. Like even at the end of my show, I put a video on called "Pull Your Pants Up." Mm-hmm. I'm in the video. I'm your mama in the video. But that's to get a message out. It's music with a message, and we try to get it out there. And it's young folks in the video. I'm just the oldest one because I hold the belt up because I'm your mama. But that's what we do, is just to get the message out there. And I know that people hearing it from people their own age kind of will listen a little more. I don't know how effective it's been, but we're trying to do that.
Right.
And see, once again, I've done it again. I don't know. Somebody needs to like have a bell or something that say, you need to stop now because you're running over again. And that's all right. That's all right, because that means that we're not going to be boring you to death. Okay, so again, I want to say thank you for choosing In My Shoes. I'm Hilda K. Broady. Or should I have said Kathy? Because I run by so many different names. I'm Hilda Kathy Broady. And we hope to see you real soon. No, I hope to see you next week. So tune in and let's do this. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, MWAM got a message for you. Check it out. How many of us offended by the boxers or the sagging pants in our community? I got a song for you. Check it out. Here we go. Come on.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up.
Yeah.
It's the new style.
Come on, Colette, talk to me.
Say, Mr. Harris, sagging jeans is an epidemic.
That's right.
One that I've never been a fan of. And I can't stand how these young men, they sagging, they dragging. Come on, pull your pants up. And I know us girls, we in the wrong for not putting these fellas on.
You got the power.
But I'm offended by boxers. And I think that we all should be. You feel
Come
me?
on, help me.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up.
Why?
It's the new style.
Come on.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up.
Yeah.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It'll make your mama proud.
Here we go.
We living in a world affected by an epidemic. Sagging jeans and sweatpants is how I'm living. Need to set the example to make the future right. So hey, our message when we hit you with the chance.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up,
It's kinda catchy.
pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It's the new style. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It'll make your mama proud.
I know you heard your belt say. You know your belt was talking to you this morning. Said, come on, just take me with you. I just wanna help you all day, keep your pants up. I just wanna throw myself around you and hang out with you all day long. But you know what?
I want to thank you for choosing In My Shoes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. A few things that we need to flesh out. First, I'm Hilda Kathy Broady, and I'm your host. We're going to talk about what this show is, who we are, and what we're about. We don't give you sound bites. We don't touch over and brush over, and we ran out of time. If we run out of time, we're going on to the next show. We'll keep addressing a topic until we rip it apart, and then we come up with solutions. We try to come up with viable solutions. We will not only be addressing topics that are of interest to me so that you're in my shoes, but also the topics that are the guests have topics that need to be addressed, and we'd like our audience to contact me at queenpin, QUEENPIN 53 at yahoo.com, and let me know some topics that you'd like for us to discuss, address, and come up with viable solutions. Because it's not only about talking the talk, but it's also about coming up with a solution. Because sometimes it's right on the tip of your tongue and you can't come up with it, and you think, oh, I should have done that. Or sometimes it's so far reached that you think that it's hopeless, and it's not. We'll put our heads together and we'll come up with that solution. So don't feel shy. Send me an email.